Hello and welcome to the British Sitcom History Podcast. I'm Gareth, and with
Hello.
me as always is Alan.
Oh, well, hello there.
Get the timing right. Come on, honestly, we've done this 1,000 times. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the British Sitcom History Podcast. And we've got a bonus episode. We've been covering Ideal for the last couple of weeks. And in order to do a bonus episode, there's no Ideal movie. So what we decided to do was do a Johnny Vegas-based spin-off. And we are going to look at the greatest British comedy movie ever made, Sex Lives of the Potato Men.
You're setting it up for a fall there.
I'm a little bit. No, listen, obviously that was a joke. And, let's not tip our hand too early, but this is rubbish. But the point is, this film has a reputation of being, the worst British comedy film ever made. I think that might be a bit harsh, but it's certainly a contender.
It is, yeah. And it is a sort of infamously bad film. Look at this. Just throwing up an image there.
Is that the poster?
This is not the poster. This is the sort of the title page from a screenshot from the actual film. So this is the font they went with.
Weak. But actually, do you know what? Before we even get into this film, the title of the film, presumably they couldn't call it Confessions of a Potato Man for legal reasons. The title's stupid. It's a terrible title.
You know what, though? It does. I think it does come back to exactly what you just said. I think it's playing into the same vibes of those kind of, well, the Confession series, definitely, but also just generally kind of exploitative B movies where the title is basically you're grabbing people with that. That's all it is. It's kind of like, back in the day they would have like I Married a Female Werewolf or something like that, kind of these B movie titles.
Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, particularly favorite of mine.
I'll give you a more contemporaneous example. Lesbian Vampire Killers.
Lesbian Vampire Killers. Was that?
Do you remember that one?
What's his name? James Corden.
Corden Horden, that was one of those, and I think this plays into that the same way. I think that's kind of what it's doing.
Oh, this is definitely a hark back to those 70s sex comedies, isn't it? I'll be honest with you, I'm not all that familiar with the Confessions films. I think I might have seen one once, but I'm not. It's not something I've spent a lot of time watching.
Yeah,
but is it? Are we talking about a 30 years on 2000s version of the same thing?
Well, do you know what, right? So the writer-director here is called Andy Humphries. I'm going to talk about him later. But what I heard was that basically this was pitched as Dumb and Dumber meets Confessions of a Window Cleaner. It was kind of a British answer to what was going on at the time. And if you think, this was made in 2004, right? So just think that the 5 years before that, you've got things like American Pie, Road Trip. It's kind of gross-out comedy is definitely the phrase.
Okay,
also, we've got kind of lad culture in Britain, working class lads who like tits and beer, that kind of thing,
shagging.
Right? Yeah.
It feels very, this, do you know what? This feels very 90s lad culture. And shockingly, it was made in 2004, which, if you'd played this film to me, well, you did play this film to me, and I thought, this is like late 90s. No, 2004.
Yeah, but I just saying, prefacing it with all that, because I think on paper, I can see how this film got made. Now, we'll talk about why it's not a good film, and it's not. I think that's a subjective viewpoint. I mean, it's not even it's an objective viewpoint. I think it's objectively bad, but also subjectively bad. But I can see why on paper this got made and why it got the funding. Speaking of which, actually, a bit of controversy about the funding.
Tell me about
it. It kicked up a bit of a fuss because it was funded in part by the UK Film Council, which distributed money from the National Lottery Fund.
Yes.
So for anyone not in Britain, the National Lottery is a sort of voluntary tax.
It's a lottery. What are you talking about? If you're not in Britain. If you're not in Britain, you can figure out from context what the National Lottery is. Come on.
But my point is,
do the work.
They take the money from that and put it back into society in some ways. One of that was funding films, and the UK Film Council was brought in as a third party to distribute funds. So when this film came out and it was a big bomb and everyone thought it was vulgar and crap, not just a bad film, but a disgusting film. Anne Widdecombe didn't like it.
Oh, so Anne Widdecombe didn't like it. That's actually gone up in my estimation.
Exactly. Yeah. So the fact that it got public money essentially to make it was somewhat controversial. However, I my view on art, Gareth. Art should be funded even if it's crap. That's my philosophy. And the point. I think
vested interest, aren't you? You're a vested interest.
Well, from what I've read, I think they were making a deliberate effort to we don't just have to make period dramas and kind of worthy films. We can make entertaining films and fund.
We can make rubbish films as well.
Yeah, we can make crap. That's fine. We can do that, sure.
Listen, I'm being a little unfair there because nobody sets out to make crap. But I think what I'm hearing from you here is that they set out to make a gross out sex comedy. They hopefully would have liked it to have been better, but they weren't trying to create a work of art.
But here's the first issue before we actually start watching some clips and getting into it a bit. It's a gross out comedy meets British 70s sex comedy, right? But it doesn't fulfill either of those. In terms of this kind of old school softcore sex comedy, it's not very titillating. It's not. There's no tits. There's no
explicit nudity at all. There's a lot of sort of simulated sex. There's a lot of swearing, but there's no actual nudity. It's not all even sort of implied, isn't it?
Not even an arse, not even a Mackenzie Crook arse in a sort of Robin Asquith style hanging out the window.
I've written in my notes here. I'm not being funny, but it would be nice to see a couple of bums here and there.
Exactly, yeah. Which is interesting that it obviously didn't go that way. It went the gross out way, and a lot of the sex acts we see are kind of not necessarily gross, but they're showing the kind of warts and all of sex.
Well, Dominic Coleman's entire story arc.
Yeah,
we'll get
to that. Yeah, but and in terms of hitting the gross out stuff, it's gross but not funny, and it's kind of goes too far or it's too intimate or something. I'm not quite sure what's not working. We can discuss as we go along. But yeah, fundamentally flawed from the very beginning. So, shall we watch some of it?
Well, let me set up the story. So, we've got Mackenzie Crook and Johnny Vegas are the stars, and they are potato delivery men. That is their job. They've got a colleague, Dominic Coleman, who I mentioned, and the boss is Mark Gatiss. And the setup is that they are all unlucky in love in various ways. And this film follows their separate stories until they all find happiness. And I actually use the phrase separate stuff. Well, yeah, not a lot happens, but they are very separate stories. So rather than, I think, when we cover a sitcom episode, we tend to go through things in sequential order, scene by scene. I don't think we should do that today. I think what we should do is take each of our four characters and look at their storyline, because they are very separate. They sort of bump into each other. The people bump into each other, but the storylines don't at all.
No, it's pretty poor, isn't it? And you've sort of raised an issue there.
Alan, it's almost an anthology film. It's almost like four completely separate bad stories.
Yeah, but doesn't feel like it's been deliberately written like that, does it?
No.
You've hit on something there that I kind of threw me straight away. I've never seen this film before, but I knew it as Sex Lives of the Potato Men. It's Mackenzie Crook and Johnny Vegas. They're on the front cover and all that kind of thing. I come to watch it, and the Potato Men are actually four. There's four of them, not two of them. Yeah. Dominic Coleman and Mark Gatiss, who's, Mark Gatiss was as big a star.
He was a star at the time, yeah.
Johnny Vegas, Mackenzie Crook was extremely high off the Office, but,
I would say that, I didn't have a stopwatch out, but I would say that they have pretty much equal screen time, the four of them, don't they? There's probably not that much in it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they favour Crook and Vegas a bit, but not enough to kind of... It feels like we are setting up four potato men here, and it's interesting that in terms of the marketing, that's not what we got, is it?
I'll tell you what, before we start talking about Johnny Vegas and his character... let's talk about the opening scene, because we get an opening montage over the music is the Ace of Spades, Motorhead's Ace of Spades, which is always good to hear. But such a weird little montage. The opening montage is so odd, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's I mean, it's just some gags. It's like 2.5 minutes at the beginning. It's you getting the titles, you're getting the names up on the opening credits. Let's do some gags. Okay, so is it any good?
So they're delivering potatoes, and every little clip of the montage has a visual joke, and they're all bad. They're all really bad jokes. They're driving around this poor shitty van, and it's just like the first couple of gags. I was kind of rolling my eyes and thinking, "Oh, come on!" And it didn't get any better. Oh, we got a clip.
There we go. I tell you what, I'll turn we'll take Ace of Spades as read. Let's turn the volume right down. We can sort of talk over it. So it's kind of a knackered old van. The Potato Men. Knackered. Fag on.
We've got Johnny Vegas and Mackenzie Crook sat in the van. Johnny Vegas has got a fag on. And here we go. And
now this is all set in Birmingham.
Yes.
I don't think it was.
I want to talk about the accents because some of them are doing Brummy accents and some of them are just not bothering.
Yeah, so we're getting bits, swearing at other traffic. They're unloading potatoes and loading potatoes.
Can I just make a point about Johnny Vegas?
You certainly can.
He looks quite good. He looks all right, doesn't he? I don't know. I think it's because we've just watched him in Ideal as a complete mess. And, his live stand-up persona, a complete mess. It's all relative. Johnny Vegas does not look like a healthy man here. But he sort of looks a little bit better than normal.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think a leather jacket does a lot for him.
Yeah, he looks cool. He looks quite cool.
And his hair's a bit longer. Yeah, he's all right, isn't it? Yeah. So here's a nice visual gag.
Incidentally, if you're listening in audio, we've got a still on screen here where Mackenzie Crook's holding a carrot like a penis and Johnny Vegas is holding 2 melons like breasts. There we go. That's the joke.
Fine. It's great. But look, it's an opening montage and we're just throwing in some visual gags. I don't think we need to be too kind of highbrow here, do we? I think that's all right.
Well, it doesn't get any better. So the woman in the chip shop's got horrible dandruff, which is going in the chips like salt.
Yeah. Then she flirts with Johnny Vegas. This is Vegas's best acting there. Lovely, lovely response. Now,
meanwhile, Mackenzie Crook's in the back office having sexual intercourse with the lady from the chip shop.
Now, I want to talk to you about something, Gareth. I want to discuss montage. Now,
montage. You want to discuss montage theory?
Yes. So now, as you well know, Gareth, I'm sure, but people at home may not. I've got a master's degree in film theory, and
you should have said.
By God, I'm going to use it.
Paying for itself already.
So basically, what I want to discuss is montage theory. So what we got here at the beginning is a montage as we kind of know it these days, which is an assemblage of images which tells us a narrative story condensed into a kind of smaller space, right? It's classic. It's Rocky 3. It's everything we want from a montage. However, I want to take you back a little bit further than that to silent cinema and more specifically Soviet cinema of the 1920s.
Are you sure?
Yeah, go with me here. Come with me.
All right. See, this is what our listeners love, a bit of film theory.
So now Soviet montage theory is a little bit more specific than what we know montage as now. And but it's essentially about the assemblage of images. And bear in mind, this is a film before sound. And so it was much, cinema as an art form was much less literal. It was much less show reality. It was a bit more like creating visual imagery. And so Soviet montage theory is a very simple process at its heart of put two images together and they will have a different meaning than separately. So just to use a kind of very classic example of what they call the Kuleshov effect, you take an image, go with me.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I will let you carry on in a minute, but I'm on screen. We've got Savoy's and I think I know where you're going with this. Back to you.
So there's a famous kind of experiment called the Kuleshov effect.
The Kuleshov effect.
Called Lev Kuleshov.
Not a thing from Star Trek, listener. The Kuleshov effect.
Yes. And so Lev Kuleshov, he took an image of a well-known actor. He told him to do a neutral face, and he filmed him for like 10 seconds. And then cut that clip of him next to an image of a bowl of soup. And everyone saw it and went, oh, what an amazing actor. How well he portrays hunger. This man is so obviously hungry. You take the same image of the man, cut it next to a child in a coffin, and everyone says, what an amazing actor showing grief. This man is pained by the death of his child. So that's a very simple demonstration of how putting different images together can change the meaning of them, right?
Do you know what? So, I've been rude. That's genuinely interesting. Thank you.
and like, you know, that's a kind of, it's in its simplest form. But I put it to you, Gareth, that this film, this opening montage, have a watch of this little visual montage.
So we've got a Savoy.
No, well, a Savoy, this is it. But watch this. Okay, so we have Mackenzie Crook taking a lady from behind. They are reaching the vinegar strokes here. We see gherkins. And then, oh, look, it's a spunking ketchup bottle, Gareth. Did you?
This is not montage theory.
So I put it to you that someone putting ketchup on chips does not evoke the image of a spunking cock unless you precursor it with Mackenzie Crook doing the chip girl from behind.
Bloody hell.
That's Soviet montage theory, Gareth.
Okay, I accept the truth of what you just said, but come on, it's a spunking bottle of ketchup, man.
Like, obviously, I'm kind of harking back to the people who are kind of creating the montage theory, but like we see this a lot. You see it a lot in cartoons where like someone gets angry and then you cut to an image of a kettle, a volcano over,
or something.
Or the car going into a tunnel, you know, and a rocket blowing off as someone's
adjacent to visual images creating a narrative.
Yeah. So I'm saying that Andy Humphries was evoking Sergei Eisenstein when he put those clips together. But he's got a master's degree in film theory as well. So
well, I tell you what. So, Sex Lives of the Potato Men is how he paid off his student loans. How are we paying off ours, Alan? If you would like to become a Patreon, that is an organic plug, ladies and gentlemen.
Worst one, yeah.
If you would like to become a Patreon for just $5 a month, you can get more of this sort of nonsense.
It's £5, Gareth.
It's £5 because we're not American. £5 a month. And what we're doing now, we're going to have 3 episodes a month, 2 on our normal sitcom as always, 1 bonus episode like this as always, and a 4th episode which will be exclusive for Patreons. Yes. And we'll tell you a little bit later on about what this month's will be. If you're interested, go to patreon.com/BritcomPod and you can sign up there. Okay, let's get back on with it.
Let's get into a bit of footage. Who should we deal with first? Which character should we deal with?
Well, I think we should probably do Johnny Vegas first. He's the reason we're here, obviously with the ideal connection. So let's talk about Johnny Vegas's character. So you know, we'll when we first meet him after the opening montage, we see that he's married. He's got a young child. He's a terrible, terrible husband and father. And his wife chucks him out. That's the opening of his arc, of his storyline. And so, you know, like it feels very old fashioned. I don't know. Was it still old fashioned in 2004? You know, it feels like my granddad in the 60s or 70s.
Yeah. Well, do you know what hit me about it? Is that these characters are supposed to be like late 20s and the actors are about that age, but they're all married. And or divorced and with kids and stuff. And like as a 41-year-old with no kids, like that really kind of throws me off because it's not what I relate to. But
I think late 20s and settled down is not out of the ordinary.
Yeah, especially for what is, you know, a working class lifestyle, which I think does lean a bit more towards get a job, have some kids, deliver potatoes. You know, it's and that's what this film is showing. It's supposed to be, and this is what the writer-director says, it's about working class blokes and the sort of conversations they have. And that's why the middle-class critics don't like it.
Yeah.
Seems like the working class audience didn't like it either, but whatever.
I tell you what, I sort of mentioned this earlier, but there is a lot of swearing. I don't know, like I'm not, you know, I swear a lot. But I just noticed it. It sort of clanged a bit. Like they seem to be just casually swearing in their conversation. Now, you might argue that is quite normal. I do know lots of people who do that, who speak like that. But I don't know, for a film, it just felt a little bit egregious.
Yeah, yeah. What is egregious?
Well, look, so Johnny Vegas, his wife chucked him out, and so his storyline essentially is just him desperately trying to get laid. That's the whole film for him. So he goes to see this woman called Poppy, who seems to have shown some interest ages ago. And we have this scene when he knocks on her door and he's talking to, there's a sort of pullback and reveal. You think he's talking to her husband, but it turns out it's her brother. But that doesn't really change anything because he's talking about, she said I could have a threesome with her. And he's having this conversation with her brother.
To give a bit of context.
It's a weird conversation.
Like, he's married with a child of about 6 years old. And so he goes to when he breaks up with his wife, he goes to his ex-girlfriend's house. So we know this is several years from the past, right? And he goes, oh, yeah, she said she'd be up for a threesome. And she's talking to the bloke. And the reveal that it's her brother and not her husband doesn't make any difference. It's like, obviously, it's an inappropriate conversation to have with anyone who lives in that house. And that's the joke, I guess, that he doesn't recognize.
The other part of the joke, it's completely inappropriate. There's no way this is like 6-7 years ago. And of course, she is up for it. She's totally up for it. So we end up, he goes and has this threesome with Poppy. Oh, but it's with another bloke. I thought it was going to be with another girl. How we laughed. There you go.
Well, I've got a couple of clips for you. I've got some threesome clips.
Have you got a bleak threesome clip of it?
Well, this is I'll show this clip because the joke here is like the reality of a threesome is always a bit more awkward and just kind of weird than you think it is. So let's show that clip here. So I've taken the sound off this because
just as well.
But the
so
visuals
Johnny
here,
Vegas sweating and with a bloke's feet in his face.
Yeah, and we're very much focusing on Johnny Vegas's face.
Having a fag.
He's got a fag on halfway through, yeah. And that the guy, this is quite a nice bit. It's always a bit when you end up on the side and you just sort of like you're tagging in.
Yeah. Have a fag, have a rest. Yeah, so that's a pretty
audio listeners.
grim.
Check out the YouTube to see Johnny Vegas having a threesome if you want to get the visuals there.
It's all pretty grim. Although I would like to point out that as soon as we're here because of Ideal, Poppy, the woman, is Nicola Reynolds. It's Nikki in Ideal, isn't it?
Yes, and from what I understand, Johnny Vegas recommended her for the job in Ideal, and he knew her because he'd worked with her on this. Okay. But I've got a clip. Let's have a little view of Nicola Reynolds having a threesome with Johnny Vegas and someone else.
I like cauliflower, and I like cheese, but I don't like cauliflower cheese.
Same with me. I like apples and I like toffee, but I don't like toffee apples.
But then, I don't like actual tomatoes, but I love tomato sauce. It's just weird.
Are you two gonna shut up or what?
Sorry, love.
It's Dave.
Cheers, mate.
I don't care who it is. Just shut up and concentrate. I'm doing all the work here. Let's just get it finished.
Funny because she's Welsh.
Yeah.
Now,
I want to sort of try and defend this film in some ways. Now, I think the concept there is that they're having a threesome, but Johnny Vegas is always just chatting with the other bloke. And like when they have a group sex later on, there's 8 men there and he's just like, he's chatting away.
He's talking about parking.
Yeah, he's always talking about the parking. I think that's a funny concept. I think it's actually quite nicely realized. That scene is one of the better scenes. And then she pops up from underneath and shouts at them in Welsh and it's funny.
No, I accept that. That is one of the funniest scenes.
And when they have the group sex scene, and like he comes into the room and there's 12 guys there already, and he goes, "What number are you?" He goes, 3. He's like, "Oh, I'm 15." He's got a little ticket, like the ticket machine.
Yeah, just like in Trolleyed.
Yeah, nice gag. I'm all right with that.
That's good. But this is basically it. Like, this is his storyline. At the very end of the film, his wife sort of takes him back, and he goes back, and that's it as well. Redemption.
His wife takes him back, but he doesn't change or grow.
For why?
Or
there's been no romantic comedy. Redemption. No, nothing. He's done nothing. We haven't even seen her since the opening scene. Like, there's been no redemption. There's nothing.
One scene.
But, come on,
there's one scene where he goes back and he basically says, "Oh, I do miss you. I'll come back if you want." And she's like, "No."
Forget it. You're useless.
And by the way, this film is a breezy 82 minutes. There was definitely room to put more stuff in if you wanted to beef the plot up a bit.
let's move on to Mackenzie Crook. So the setup for him is that he's recently divorced, and for some reason he's now living with his ex-mother-in-law, who is Kate Robbins. And this is a classic 70s trope. She's a sexual predator. She's forcing herself on him. We saw this in the Man About the House movie, didn't we? But it's the same, but turned up to 11. We got a lovely picture of Kate Robbins in a massive bra there.
Some kind of woman's bra.
Yes. Very good, actually. I think Kate Robbins is glorious. It's a really good performance from start to finish.
And I think it works because she's a bit of a MILF, but she's not like a really obviously attractive woman. She's a middle-aged woman, a bit of middle-age spread, but she's a cougar, I guess they would call it now.
I like the way she's very matter of fact. She's like, come on. What's his name? Ferris. Come on, Ferris. Let's get on with it. Come on, down to business.
Oh, wow.
There's a lovely...
You could have asked me all day. I would not have picked that name out. Mackenzie Crook is what I called him. I didn't get any of the characters' names. I didn't really pick up on that all.
Well, I haven't bothered with anyone else's names, but it was Ferris. And I thought, well, that must be Ferris Bueller, surely. But I didn't do the maths. I couldn't do the maths. I don't think it would be the right age. But anyway, he's called Ferris. There's a great scene with Kate Robbins where her mum, so his grandmother-in-law, turns up. And she's like, show me your cock, Ferris. this genuinely made me laugh. It's really funny because he's got a really big cock, apparently. And it's just an old lady being inappropriate again, isn't it? And
that's classic comedy stuff. I think it's one of those things where they kind of bring it back later on and it kind of just goes a little bit too far, which is probably the problem with the film altogether, not knowing when to draw back, or to hold off, so to speak. But, you know.
That scene with the grandma in it, I've definitely recognised her, so I looked her up, and she is the grandma that David Walliams fancied in Little Britain. So with that inappropriate relationship, same vibe. So that's definitely what she's typecast as.
What a weird thing to be typecast as.
Let's talk Mackenzie Crook's sex life.
Sure.
So Kate Robbins. And then the chip shop girl, but this relationship evolves because, first of all, he moves into the chip shop, so he's sleeping on the shelf out the back of the chip shop. He's had to move the gherkins, and that's because he wants to get away from Kate Robbins. But then we get this subplot where the chip shop girl is married, and her husband likes to watch, basically. So then we get more and more of that. Yeah, so we have this big pretense. Oh no, if my husband catches us, all of that business, you know.
And Mackenzie Crook doesn't know about it. So he's banging this girl, and then the sort of fat husband falls out of the wardrobe naked, and then they sort of force him again. That's quite funny, but then they force him they tie him up, and then they're in the basement, and
it doesn't make any sense.
The bloke is tied up for a while. But he's also...
The sexual dynamics of this make no sense at all.
Yeah. And then at one point he's in the boot of the car. It didn't make a lot of sense, did it? It's not...
The husband, he's one of those faces I recognise. Nick Holder. I looked him up. He was in Psychoville, which I'm not sure if that qualifies as a sitcom, but he's been in a few things, 1 or 2 episodes of everything. A film that most of our listeners will have seen that he's in. He's The World's End. He's one of the barmen in one of the pubs in The World's End.
Yes. I saw him in a film. He played a supporting role in a film called Sweet Sue that I watched recently, which was directed by Leo Lee, who is Mike Lee's offspring. Okay. And it seems to have fallen not far from the tree. And it was a very similar style as Mike Lee's films. But he plays a supporting character, but it's a really funny scene where they're all on drugs, and he's very good at that. So I've got a kind of good memory of him from that I just saw a few months ago. But yeah, it seems like a really good, solid character actor. Some of the acting's a bit dodgy in this, do you think?
Well, yeah. So, no, interesting you say that, because I think that if you take the main characters out of the equation for a minute, a lot of the supporting characters were really bad. And you know, when sometimes you get like one actor and you think, oh, that's a pretty wooden performance. There were just so many of them here that I thought, well, that can't be, these are professional actors. They can't all be terrible. It must be something to do with the direction or the script or the, whatever. There was a lot of flat wooden acting.
Would this be a good time to talk about the director?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're going to start slagging off the direction. So Andy Humphries is our man here. So he wrote it and directed it, and it's on his IMDb. It's his first credit.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, it's not his first thing he did. So I dug into it a bit deeper, and I found on the website of Buckinghamshire New University, where he is currently, as far as I can tell, the course leader of the BA in film production.
Okay.
So that seems to be his job at the moment. So the following information comes from the bio that they have on there, which is written in the first person. So I assume he wrote it.
Okay.
So according to that, he got an MA in film, and he started working at Granada Studios
Can't be
up
bad.
in Manchester, working under Tony Wilson, who I'm sure you're familiar with.
Yeah, Tony Wilson. Yeah.
And he produced shows and directed shows with Steve Coogan, Caroline Aherne, and Vic Reeves.
Right.
Now,
but they didn't make it to IMDb.
Yes, it's the sort of small scale stuff that was being made on regional ITV shows that, as you know, when IMDb came along 15 years later, it just hasn't kind of caught those kind of smaller things.
Okay, I'm with you.
However, as it happens, I'm reading a book at the moment called Caroline Aherne, Rebel in Disguise, by a man named David Scott, who has written this. It's kind of a biography of Caroline Aherne, but it's more focused on the work and the sources and inspirations and stuff rather than a personal life. We have an interview with David Scott about that book, which has just come out, so we talked to him about it, and that is on the YouTube channel. So go and have a look at it. But it just so happens that I was reading that book while watching this, and one of the things that gets mentioned in Caroline Ahern's earlier career is a sketch show. It was just a one-off sketch show called The Dead Good Show, which featured Caroline Aherne, Steve Coogan, and John Thompson as the sort of primary Manchester-based sketch comedy actors. And Andy Humphries was the director of that. So that's one, just as an example of what was going on.
So he was in that world. He was in that Northwest comedy world.
We're talking about the early 90s when he was making that kind of stuff. And he went on...
Yeah, there's a big gap. Yeah, that's 10 years before this.
Well, he was working. He was just doing, that kind of stuff. Small-scale TV stuff, producing, directing. But then he gets this feature film, and in his bio, that it seems like it was written by himself, it says, I wrote and directed a feature film with Johnny Vegas with a £3 million budget.
Ooh, that's
factually accurate.
But he's not naming it in his bio.
That's it. That's all you get.
Go and look it up.
So after this film came out, and it was a massive flop, it wasn't like the critics didn't like it, but
it was one of those. It was one of those flops where everybody, it becomes a punchline. Oh, this is nearly as bad as a type thing. So it didn't just do badly; it did famously badly. Yeah,
which is probably fair. We'll talk about our overall feelings later, but so after this, he basically didn't work in fiction kind of content. His credits and his career seems to have been based in producer director of those kind of. He worked for BBC Latin Entertainment, worked for Channel 4, shows such as The Secret Life of Bob Monkhouse, The Untold Tommy Cooper, those kind of talking head shows with clips and slightly catchy titles to make it sound
been
like
on a couple of those.
You've
worked with him.
No. I don't think he does this anymore. This was kind of 10 years ago.
Okay.
Like I say, he seems to be an academic now. He seems to be a teacher rather than working in the industry quite directly anymore. So, I mean, this film is the anomaly, really, in his career. He got the chance at something a little bit bigger than what he was doing, and it fell on its arse. How much can we blame him for that?
Well, listen, I think I've been negative about this film, and I guess it's his fault, But I do think it's unfair that he never really got another chance. It's hard making a film. We talked about this before. There's lots of moving parts, lots of things to do, and it's a shame. It's a shame.
And a lot of stuff he'd done before would have been quite studio based. This is much more like location filming and
Mm-hmm.
your single camera filming. I wonder how much of a learning curve there was in that, even for someone who was, relatively experienced, because I found a lot of the visuals to be quite static.
Yeah.
And then there were these moments, there were these flashes of things. Like there was one bit where they're having a drinking montage, and there was a shot where the camera was, at the bottom of the glass, and you could see them drinking, and the way, like little moments like that. It was like, oh, that's a visually inventive, interesting thing. Let me show you a shot here. Look, I've just got a still. Look at that. That's a lovely
So this
shot.
is the potato van out in the middle of a field. And it's a beautiful landscape. It cows to one side. Yeah, it's a well-framed image. Yes.
Yeah, which, obviously that's not in a script. Is this just a good DOP on the day going, that's a nice shot, let's nail that? I don't know. The fact that we've got our farm worker there wearing all red, it seems a very deliberate choice against the green. And I don't know, the clouds feel very specific. It's a beautiful shot.
I think you're overthinking it. I agree with you, it's a beautiful shot. But I don't know. I don't think that was storyboarded.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I will give you another example, though. I'm just going to show this clip, and I've taken this volume off because it was just music, basically. But it's what I called a surprisingly mobile clip, because so much of this was very static and pretty over the shoulder, kind of pretty basic stuff. So let's have a look at this shot of Johnny Vegas walking out of a shop. Bit amusing.
All right, put your hands up if you're going to be shagging 2 women this afternoon.
So obviously with the dialogue there is a lovely finish. But basically it's Johnny Vegas walking out of a shop, walking over to his mates, and the camera it's a tracking shot.
Yeah.
Where, well, here's the thing, and I really appreciate if anybody else would like to throw in their opinions on this, because I could not for the life of me figure out if this was a tracking shot or a Steadicam shot. It's really nicely done, whatever it is, but it's weird that they've chosen this particular shot. Like, why this is this nice dramatic movement? It's not necessary at all to tell the story.
It's interesting, yeah, because whether it's a tracking shot or a Steadicam, that's they've had to get some kit in to do that. Like, that's a deliberate decision.
Yeah, but especially in 2004, like Steadicams have been around a long time, but it's a specialist job. You hire a Steadicam operator; they come with their gear.
Yeah.
They get paid, hundreds of pounds a day. Whereas a tracking shot is kind of track. You have track. You're making a film. You have track. But
it's still
as tracking
effort.
shots
it's still
go,
a thing.
As tracking shots go, that's a complete tracking shot because it's around a big old curve.
Like you said, that's a decision, isn't it? So why? Okay, here's a shot of Johnny Vegas coming out of a shop with a dirty magazine because he's delighted he's having a threesome. Why now? Why is that the scene where we're going to do something a bit special?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it might, which makes it the whole thing kind of that stinks of. We've got the budget to get this stuff in. Let's do it.
Yeah.
What should we do with it? And but why that shot? Yeah, who knows? Because there's a bit of visual inventiveness, and let's use this as a way to segue into the Mark Gatiss storyline. And I'll show you a clip of Mark Gatiss as character who is a stalker. So let's have a quick look.
Yeah, he's a pretty dangerous predatory stalker.
So he is looking through his binoculars. Yeah. And
we're seeing a woman in a bra. He's looking through binoculars, and he's a filthy stalker.
Yeah. So he's in the bushes. He looks around, gets his cock out. We don't see that, but it's implied. And then we cut back to the binoculars, the POV of the binoculars, and they're shaking. So he's masturbating. Now, okay, look. I'll grant you, it's crass. It's kind of, it's our gross out humor.
What's the book coming here? Because it's crass and gross out. But
that is a nice and comedic, visually inventive way of showing that. Because we're getting that binocular POV that we see all the time. He's like going from window to window, and then it's just jiggling a little bit. It's good. I'm all right with it as a directorial choice.
Well, so look, so let's stop talking about directorial choices and start talking about Mark Gatiss, because we've moved on to his story. So basically, the story here is in the first scene we see him, he's talking about Ruth, his girlfriend, and then we meet Ruth. He's trying to give some flowers, I think, to Ruth, and she tells him to get stuffed. And it's his ex. She's dumped him. He's stalking her, and he's properly stalking her. He's watching her from behind a bush in the park. You know, he's writing aggressive letters to her. There's nothing nice about this. Like, it is properly unpleasant.
It is played for laughs.
I don't think it is. I don't. It's pretty malevolent. I don't think it's funny enough.
It's played for laughs. Whether it succeeds in that or not is a different matter. But it is supposed to be
too
funny.
Creepy.
Yeah, it's because we see that he's kind of in love, but then he goes to meet the woman and she says, you know you're a liar. You lied to me about, so I'm not interested. It's Lucy Davis, as in Jasper Carrot's daughter, famously, who is off of The Office, and this is 2004. So fresh off The Office.
And off of is it the Wonder Woman film that she's in? She's in one of the Marvel films, or
she is in one of those, as the the friend or something, but
not quite Brock America though.
No, not quite. She's out there. She's doing stuff. So Lucy Davis and Mackenzie Crook were hot off The Office. Mackenzie Crook's the biggest star in this. Johnny Vegas is also a star, but not particularly as an actor. So whatever that means. Anyway. That's who's playing his girlfriend. So he just starts following around. He steals her dog just because he's obsessed with her, and that's what kind of weird stalker people do. And then he's going to kill the dog at one point, but he can't bring himself to do it. That's the line, Gareth. That's where you don't go too far.
Because he likes the dog, so he can't be all bad.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, he is literally standing in the bushes wanking while watching her through binoculars, although he ends up watching the neighbor because yeah,
it's not her. It's not even her. The scene we just watched, he's watching some other woman through some other window.
Because he's there. The thing is, Gareth, he's not there to have a wank.
It's not his fault.
He's there to watch her because she's seeing another man, and he wants to be jealous of that.
Well, we all live happily ever after, because he meets Julia Davis, not Lucy Davis, Julia Davis, who is one of my favourites. I think she's great, and after an initial pretending to be something he isn't, he admits that he lied. She's got something in her past as well, I forget. And so we all live happily ever after.
She's also a nut job, and she did a load of weird stuff to her ex-boyfriend, so they got on really well.
So it's going to be fine.
It's funny you mentioned about Julia Davis, because Julia Davis did crop up a little cameo in Ideal. I don't know if you saw that episode.
I don't think I did, no.
She played the mum of Jenny in one episode, and she had cataracts. That was the gag. She couldn't see.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah. Can I be slightly controversial? I don't know if I like Julia Davis that much. I think
Julia Davis, I really like her. I really like the stuff she's written and produced. I would like that awkwardness that she does. I think I've only ever really seen her do that one thing. As an actor, I mean. I haven't really seen any range, but I like it. I like what she does.
Yeah, I don't think I do. And I would love to tackle Nighty Night properly at some point.
I think we will at some point, definitely.
What I've seen of it,
I particularly enjoyed Hunderby, the period drama she did, sitcom that she did.
It just never quite chimes with me somehow. But I've never kind of really sat down and thought about it that much. So there is a fourth character who gets very little set up.
Dominic Coleman. But I tell you what, it is. We'll talk about his plot in a minute because it's poor. But it was nice to see Dominic Coleman sort of front and center. He's definitely not. He's not the top of the cast list, but he has not a lot to do. He has a single thing to do several times. It's nice to see. It's nice to see him. Like, he always just pops up in one episode here and there. It's nice to see him actually in a starring role.
Sure, yeah. I mean, we saw him recently in Trolleyed, in which he ended up playing quite a regular part. Dominic Coleman, I do like him. He has a very specific comedy acting style. I wouldn't hire him to play, the bereaved father in a haunting drama, but that's okay. He does what he does well, and I think he fits here fine. But even in this film, his character and what he's doing feels ridiculous.
Yeah, so his entire plot
compared
line
to the rest of the film.
He likes to lick jam out of fannies. That's it. Like that's it. That's his thing. That's his kink. And so there's some grim spreading raspberry jam on various types of fish product. It's all pretty grim. But that's it. That's it. That's his storyline. There's a bit of telephone dating where he's trying to get a girl. Do you remember telephone dating? Is that before your time?
A little bit, yeah. I certainly haven't.
It's before my time as in dating, but I remember when I was a kid, it was a bit of a trope, a bit of a comedy trope. So you kind of left a 1 minute voicemail on some central repository, and people could ring in, and if they liked it, they would leave you a message, and it was Tinder of the noughties. Yeah. But eventually, there's lots of him checking the messages. You have no messages, and then he finally gets a message, gets a date. And it turns out that she's into sex as well, so she takes him to Adrian Childs' sex club.
Oh yeah, I didn't get a clip of Adrian Childs, I'm afraid. Yeah,
Adrian Childs but they go to some house party, which is a sex party, and the door is opened by a topless Adrian Childs, and that's it. He lets them in, and welcome to the party. No, that's it. Like that's his
Birmingham,
which I quite enjoyed.
I assume that's what happens in Birmingham.
This is before Adrian Childs was a sort of national treasure. Avuncular character. He was like the guy off of Business News, wasn't he?
Do you want a quick clip of Dominic Coleman? We'll see a bit of him.
How grim is it going to be?
It's not too bad. I like this one because
it's not the one where he's licking jam off an octopus.
We're not seeing him licking anything here. He goes to a sex shop to try and buy a fake fanny so that he can put jam on it. I guess.
Actually, do you know what? Before you play the clip, this is one of the 2 times in the entire film that I laughed out loud. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, and I like the guy who plays the shop clerk, the shop owner here is a nice little 4 lines, but he does a lot of good stuff with it. Yeah, have a watch of this.
How much are your plastic twats?
50 quid.
Right. What do you use to what do you put inside it?
Your cock.
No, I meant to make it all slippery. Do you put like margarine in it or something?
There's tubes of KY jelly next to the vibrators.
Yeah, but it doesn't taste of anything, does it?
Not supposed to eat it, mate.
No, obviously. But is there anything else? Is there anything that's got a more proper fanny flavour?
Yeah, a proper fanny.
A thoughtful nod.
What do you put in it? Your cock. That made me laugh.
I love that bit.
Out of interest, would you like to know the second time I laughed out loud at this film?
Oh, go on then.
It was a joke at the end where Mackenzie Crook was reflecting on his period living in the chip shop. And he says, "Yeah, I got my fingers burned at the chip shop. Tried to get a pound coin out the fat fryer." That's a good joke. That's a good joke. That's a pull back and reveal joke. And I laughed out loud. Not for long. I went, "Ha! That counts."
Yeah, fair enough. I'll give you that.
Maybe I was euphoric. It was near the end of the film.
Yeah, it's like you just start to lose your mind slightly. It sounds like we haven't addressed the plot very much. Nothing happens.
We have addressed the plot, mate. We have discussed everything that happened.
Yeah. And not much happens. There's not really much in terms of character journey. Like Mackenzie Crook, he shags people and then he ends up back where he started, I think, or he gets his own place or something. Yeah.
I can't remember. I genuinely can't remember.
Not satisfying narrative arcs. We have 4 separate arcs that don't come together particularly well.
They don't come together at all. These guys all work together, but that's it. They've got these separate storylines.
And
it's like Love Actually.
Yeah, Mark. Oh God, Mark Gay spunk. Actually, sorry about that.
Okay, this is more than I laughed during the old film.
Mark Gatiss's character particularly barely interacts with the others at all. So you got Johnny Vegas and Mackenzie Crook are kind of the mates, and Dominic Coleman's the other one, and they go and stay with him. Johnny Vegas stays with him, so he has to like live with the weird mate. But that's about as far as we get with that. But overall thoughts, it's not just that it's gross. It is gross. It's vulgar in a not funny way. And I guess that's a thin line sometimes. But even at the time in 2004, this kind of went beyond the pale. But it's It's like in terms of how it's put together, it's pretty basic, but it's functional. Like from a directing point of view, I think the writing's a lot worse than the directing. And performance-wise, it just feels kind of thrown together. That it's not like the people are doing a bad job. It just feels like this is not born of passion, is it? This is just throwing something together.
I think, there are exceptions. Like, I think Kate Robbins is an exception. I really liked what she did. I thought she was very funny. But in the main, thank you. There's some sort of woman's bra. In the main, most of the ancillary characters, most of the people who are just popping in, aren't very good. The performances aren't very good. And although our 4 main characters, I don't think they're doing a terrible job, but there's not a lot to work with. The script's not very good. That's the truth.
Yeah. And, in a very direct sense, it's not particularly funny, but then in an overall sense, the plot is kind of nonsense and messy, and and it's difficult as an actor to, like, you get presented with a character that has no kind of real arc or personality. Like, what do you do with that? You swear and try and make it funny.
You've put up on screen there the DVD cover, and the tagline is "the year's most controversial comedy," and that is someone in marketing desperate trying to spin the fact that this was an absolute bomb at the box office. Yeah. Yes, it was controversial. Nobody went to see it, but you can't put that on the box.
Yeah, and the secondary line is the search for the lowest form of life on the planet is over. So this is very much saying we're laughing at these people, which I don't think is what was intended, but that's how they're trying to sell it.
Could be the lads' film of the year. It says at the bottom there. Who's that from? Who said that?
Someone like the Daily Mirror or something, but I think it may have been in a kind of, well, maybe negative. The lads will like it.
Yeah.
Well, if you were Garrett in 2004, right? You're about the same age as the likes of a Johnny Vegas and a Mackenzie Crook. Yeah. Were you a bit of a lad? Would you watch this film with your mates and have a couple of beers and go, "Oh, it's amazing"?
Well, by then my son was my son wasn't born in 2004, but I had settled down then, and I don't think.
So did Mackenzie Crook. He got divorced.
Perhaps if you take me back a couple of years earlier, before I was in a relationship, then I was desperately trying to get laid. Like that's normal, but I don't think I went about it in the same way. No.
That's an interesting point you just make there. A lot of comedy in this kind of arena comes from people trying to get laid, especially men trying to get sex and struggling. That doesn't happen in this film. They're basically just getting laid all over the place, including, Johnny Vegas just goes to almost a random woman, says, "Do you want a threesome?" And then she says yes.
Yeah, all right.
And Dominic Coleman is kind of the one he's not trying to find a woman. He is trying to find a woman, but for a specific purpose. And then he finds a woman. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. What is this film? What is it trying to achieve?
Listen, I didn't enjoy it. I laughed twice and I rolled my eyes and I watched it with my wife. I set this up as, this is really bad. Don't expect anything. And she was... I wouldn't say she was appalled. That would be too strong. But she was like, "This is crap. This is." Actually, do you know what? That's a good point. It wasn't even appalling. It wasn't shocking in the sense that, oh my god, they haven't said that. Oh my goodness. It's just like, oh god, this is lame.
Yeah, it's lame.
I agree. There you go. One word review. Lame. Well, I think that's it. I think we covered the sex lives of all 4 potato men. Are you got anything else to say, or shall we wrap this up with mercy?
Yes, let's wrap it in tinfoil and stick it in the oven.
Thanks. Thank you, Alan. So thank you everyone for listening. And again, if you're listening, you can watch on YouTube with the clips that we've been talking about as well. And you can find us on Instagram at Britcom Pod. On Facebook, British Sitcom History Podcast. And once again, next week we will be having a bonus exclusive Patreon episode. And we're going to be looking at an episode of The Comedians. You'll remember in Ideal, we had Mick Miller, who was Johnny Vegas' dad. So we're going to look at an episode of The Comedians from 1985, which featured Mick Miller.
Yes, and I've got some clips also of a couple of other comedians who appeared in Ideal. There's a little bonus for you.
It's going to be very interesting. So you can go to patreon.com/BritcomPod if you would like to sign up for £5, not dollars, £5 a month. And you can then have access to our exclusive episodes. Please don't worry. If you're not a patron, you'll still get 3 episodes a month. That will be happening from now on.
Nice. All right, great. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.